Welcome to your own personal deep dive into all the ways we can boost your immunity.
Sounds exciting.
We've got some fascinating research articles and even a health website article I thought we could take a look at.
Great.
Our mission is to try to figure out what are some practical, evidence-based ways to make our immune system stronger.
Especially, as we
Mm.
age.
Yeah,
It seems like as we get older, those infections can really take a toll.
that's a huge point. And as we get older, staying healthy is even more important,
Hmm.
and a strong immune system is key for that.
I know one of the things that really jumped out at me was reading about macrophages.
Uh-huh.
I always thought of those as kind of like the Pac-Man cells of the immune system,
Right.
They just gobble up the bad stuff. But it turns out they do so much more than that, and they actually get less effective as we age.
You know what's fascinating is it's not just about them becoming fewer in number. Their ability to present antigens actually declines.
What does that mean, present antigens?
So it's basically like showing the rest of the immune system what the enemy looks like.
So if they're not presenting antigens well, it's like they're showing a blurry picture instead of a high-def one, and so it's harder to fight off those infections.
So it's no wonder as we get older, our immune system just doesn't seem to work as well.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, they start pumping out more inflammatory molecules, like things that you might have heard of before, like TNF, IL-6, IL-1,
Right.
all these things that are associated with inflammation.
Okay, so we've got these macrophages that are kind of getting worse at their job,
Yeah.
and they're causing more inflammation as we age. So what can we do about that?
Right.
I know one of the articles talks a lot about diet, but frankly, there's so much advice out there, and it's often conflicting that it's easy to get lost.
It's true. It really can feel like a battlefield of opinions out there.
Yeah.
But, one thing that is clear from the research is there's no single miracle diet for immunity.
Yeah.
It's more about, making choices that are consistently supporting your overall health, and that starts with what's on your plate.
So what are some things we can do to make our diets more immune-friendly? What are some actionable steps?
Well, we have to address the elephant in the room, and that's probiotics. I
Right.
hear a lot about them these days, and for good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, they're live microorganisms that can actually benefit your health, especially your gut health.
So we're talking about things like the good bacteria in yogurt and fermented foods and things like that.
Yes, but it's actually much more than just a trendy health food fad as we get older. The diversity of our gut microbiome naturally declines,
Wow.
making us more susceptible to infections, and probiotics can help replenish that good bacteria to kind of bolster that crucial line of defense.
Wow, so those tiny organisms can actually have a big impact on our immune system.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of vitamin E.
Okay.
It's a potent antioxidant, so that means it protects your cells from damage. And what's really impressive is its impact on both the cell-mediated and humoral immune responses.
Now hold on. I think you just lost a few people there.
Sorry.
Can you break that down for us?
Of course. So imagine your immune system as a two-pronged attack. Cell-mediated immunity is like that hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
You've got your T cells going in and directly destroying infected cells. Humoral immunity, on the other hand, that's more like an airstrike. You have antibodies neutralizing those pathogens before they can even wreak havoc, and vitamin E seems to boost both sides of this defense system.
Wow, so it's like a superhero for our immune system.
Yeah.
I know things like almonds and sunflower seeds are good sources, but what are some other ways we can get more vitamin E?
Leafy greens like spinach are a great option as well. They're packed with nutrients and can really help keep that immune system in tip-top shape.
All right, so we've talked about what we eat. What about how we move? I know this is all about boosting immunity, but I got to say, after all this diet info, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed already.
I hear you, but we can keep this simple.
Okay.
The key takeaway is moderate, regular exercise. It's like a tune-up for your immune system. So think brisk walking, swimming, dancing, anything that gets you moving and your heart pumping.
Okay, that sounds a lot more doable than I thought it might be.
Yeah.
But how does exercise actually work its magic on those immune cells?
Well, if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture, exercise improves circulation. So that means those all-important immune cells can travel more efficiently throughout your body.
Right.
It's like increasing the patrols so you can catch those potential threats early on.
So it's like making those macrophages we were talking about earlier more effective by getting them where they need to go faster.
Precisely. There was actually a fascinating study on mice that showed a high-fat diet actually hindered the ability of macrophages to function properly.
Okay.
So it's not just about getting those immune cells moving, it's also about creating a healthy environment for them to thrive in.
Okay, I'm definitely getting the message here.
Yeah.
What I eat and how I move has a direct impact on my immunity, especially as I age.
Absolutely.
What about minerals? I know they're essential for our overall health, but I know one of the studies really dug deep into their role in immune function.
Yeah. Minerals are often overshadowed by vitamins.
But they're absolutely essential for a well-functioning immune system.
Okay.
For example, magnesium plays a critical role in keeping our immune response balanced.
Okay.
Low magnesium levels are actually associated with an overactive innate immune response, while the adaptive response, the one that learns and remembers specific threats, actually gets weaker.
So it's like having a security system that's going off for no reason all the time,
Yeah.
but then it fails to recognize the real danger when it shows up.
That's a great analogy, and to make matters worse, magnesium deficiency is linked to that chronic low-grade inflammation, that persistent kind that can contribute to all sorts of health problems. It's even connected to elevated CRP levels, which is a marker of inflammation.
Okay, I've heard of CRP, but I don't really understand what it is.
Think of it as a sort of alarm bell that goes off in your blood when there's inflammation brewing somewhere in your body.
Got it.
So persistently elevated CRP levels, that's a sign that something's not quite right.
So magnesium helps to keep our immune system in check.
And it also fights inflammation. What about zinc? I know we talked about it a little bit when we were talking about diet,
Yeah.
but I know the research paper really went into a lot more detail about zinc.
Zinc is really a true MVP when it comes to immunity. It's involved in a ton of critical processes, activating and differentiating immune cells, producing those all-important cytokines, and even fighting oxidative stress.
So what happens if we're running low on zinc?
Well, think of it like your immune system is running on low battery power.
Uh-huh.
It just can't function optimally.
Yeah.
All those essential immune functions we talked about, they start to sputter, and you become more susceptible to infections.
That's not a good picture.
No, it's not.
So zinc sounds really important, but what other minerals are part of this kind of immune boosting team?
Well, copper is another one that often gets overlooked.
Okay.
It's especially vital for the function of neutrophils. Those first responders of your immune system that rush to the scene of an infection and start fighting off those nasty pathogens.
So what happens if we don't get enough copper?
Well, copper deficiency, it affects both the number of neutrophils circulating in your blood and how well they can fight off infections.
That's not good.
It's like soldiers going into battle without proper equipment.
So copper is important. What about iron?
Iron is interesting because it's actually a double-edged sword.
Okay.
While it's essential for our immune cells to function properly, those pesky pathogens need iron to thrive too.
So our bodies are in this constant balancing act, trying to make sure there's enough iron for our immune cells without giving those germs a free ride.
Exactly. It's a delicate dance, and when it comes to iron, both too much and too little can be problematic. It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Right, so with all these minerals and vitamins playing such crucial roles in immune function, should we all be taking supplements?
That's a question I get asked a lot,
Right.
and it's an important one.
Should we just be popping supplements?
While supplements can be useful for addressing specific deficiencies, the research really suggests that whole foods are still the gold standard.
So back to eating our fruits, vegetables, and a balanced diet then.
Exactly. It's the foundation of a healthy body and a strong immune system.
But what if I'm worried about specific deficiencies? Should I just start taking supplements on my own?
This is where things get a bit tricky. The FDA doesn't regulate supplements the same way they do medications.
Oh, right.
So it's really crucial to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement regimen.
Okay, that's good advice. I mean, this has been super informative, but I'm starting to realize the immune system is way more complex than I ever imagined.
You're not wrong. And to add another layer of complexity, there's this intriguing concept that the innate immune system, our first line of defense, can sometimes actually aid tumor growth.
Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. How can our own immune system help cancer cells?
It seems like a paradox, I know.
Yeah.
But research shows that innate immunity is more like a complex web of interactions than a simple on-off switch.
So it's more like a dimmer switch that can be adjusted up or down depending on the situation.
That's a great way to put it. Different pathways within the innate immune system can be activated or suppressed depending on the context. So things like the specific type of tumor or the stage of the disease really matter.
So it's even more complicated than we initially thought.
It is.
Why is it so important to know that the innate immune system can sometimes be pro-tumor? I mean, what does this mean for our understanding of immunity?
Well, this raises a crucial question for both researchers and clinicians. If simply boosting the immune system isn't always the answer, How can we manipulate these intricate pathways to harness the power of immunity to fight cancer more effectively?
Right.
It's a fascinating area of research that could have a profound impact on how we approach cancer treatment in the future.
Well, the more we learn, the more there is to discover.
That's true.
And it seems like that's a perfect place to pick up in part 2 of our immune system deep dives. So we'll be back to unravel even more mysteries and explore this fascinating world of the gut microbiome.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
I see you then.
See you then.
Welcome back to our deep dive into boosting your immunity. We left off talking about how even our own innate immune system can sometimes play a role in tumor growth.
Yeah, that was pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it definitely challenged my assumptions about how the immune system works.
Yeah,
But it seems like the more we learn about it, the more nuanced it really is.
absolutely.
So we've talked about diet, exercise, even the surprising roles that minerals play in keeping our immune systems balanced.
Right.
What other fascinating insights do we have in store for this part of our deep dive?
Well, the outline mentioned the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to learn more about that.
Me too. I
Yeah.
mean, what is the gut microbiome?
Oh, the gut microbiome. It's really a remarkable ecosystem. It's an area of research that's exploding with new discoveries all the time.
Okay.
It turns out that those trillions of bacteria that live in our digestive tract play a much bigger role in our overall health, including our immunity, than we ever realized.
So we're talking about more than just digestion here.
Yes.
How does this community of bacteria in our gut actually impact our immune system?
It might seem like a far leap from our stomach to fighting off infections, but the connection is actually quite profound.
Oh.
You can think of the gut microbiome as a training ground for our immune system. It helps teach our immune cells how to distinguish between friend and foe and ensures that they only attack the real threats.
So it's like a boot camp for our immune cells, getting them ready for battle.
Exactly. And when our gut microbiome is healthy and diverse, it helps to keep our immune system in balance,
Okay.
like a well-tuned orchestra playing in harmony.
Huh?
But when it gets disrupted, which can happen due to things like a poor diet, antibiotic use, even chronic stress, it throws our immune system out of whack.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's like anything else in our body.
Yeah,
Balance is key.
balance is key.
So what can we do to make sure our gut microbiome is thriving and supporting our immune system?
Well, one of the best things you can do is focus on eating a diet that's rich in fiber. Fiber acts as food for those beneficial bacteria in our gut.
So more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
Yeah,
I'm sensing a theme here.
you got it. And there's growing evidence that fermented foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi
Yeah.
can be really beneficial as well because they introduce a variety of beneficial bacteria and help to create a more hospitable environment for them to thrive.
I love those foods. So that's good news for me.
Good.
What about probiotics? We talked about those earlier in the context of aging and infections.
Yeah.
Do they also play a role in supporting a healthy gut microbiome?
Probiotics can be a great way to replenish the good bacteria in your gut, especially after a round of antibiotics, which can wipe out both the good and the bad bacteria.
Oh, right.
But it is important to choose high-quality probiotics from reputable brands.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of variation in the quality of those products.
Absolutely.
So diet is key, but are there any other lifestyle factors that impact the health of our gut microbiome?
You know, managing stress is incredibly important. Chronic stress can really wreak havoc on your gut microbiome, disrupting the delicate balance of bacteria and making it harder for the beneficial ones to thrive.
It's so true. I always notice that my digestion gets messed up when I'm stressed out.
Yeah, it's not just in your head. Stress actually triggers a cascade of hormonal changes that can directly affect the gut environment, making it less hospitable for those good bacteria.
Interesting.
So finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether it's exercise, meditation, spending time in nature,
Yeah.
anything that helps you unwind, really,
Yeah,
can have a positive ripple effect on your gut microbiome and in turn your immune system.
it seems like everything is connected.
It is.
So we've got a pretty solid foundation here for boosting our immune system, a balanced diet with plenty of fiber, regular exercise, managing stress, and supporting a healthy gut microbiome.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what happens when our immune system seems to be working against us.
Right.
What about those times when it's overactive or misdirected?
That's a great question. And it really highlights the fact that a strong immune system isn't always about ramping up its activity. Sometimes it's about modulating or even suppressing the immune response to prevent it from causing harm.
I'm not sure I follow. When would we ever want to suppress our immune system?
Right. It might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but there are definitely situations where an overactive or misdirected immune response can be detrimental to our health.
Oh,
Think about organ transplantation, for instance.
oh, okay.
When someone receives a new organ, their immune system might see it as a foreign invader and try to attack it.
Right, so that's what transplant rejection is.
Exactly. And it can be a life-threatening complication.
Yeah.
So to prevent that, doctors use immunosuppressive drugs, which essentially dampen the immune response and prevent it from attacking the transplanted organ.
So these drugs are basically tricking the immune system into thinking that this new organ is actually part of the body.
That's a great way to put it. They're interfering with the signals that trigger the immune response, giving that transplanted organ a chance to integrate into the body without being attacked.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Are there any other situations where it's actually beneficial to modulate the immune response?
Absolutely. Autoimmune diseases are another prime example.
Right.
As we discussed earlier in these conditions, the immune system mistakenly attacks the body's own tissues,
Hmm.
leading to inflammation and damage.
Like rheumatoid arthritis, where the immune system targets the joints.
Exactly. And in those cases, the goal of treatment is often to suppress or modulate the immune response to prevent further damage and reduce those debilitating symptoms of the disease.
So the same types of drugs that are used to prevent transplant rejection can also be used to treat autoimmune diseases.
That's right. Many of the same medications are used for both purposes, although the dosages and specific drugs may vary depending on the individual patient and the condition being treated.
It's amazing how we can actually manipulate the immune system in these ways. Are there any other scenarios where modulating immunity is really important?
Oh, there's another big one that affects millions of people: allergies.
Okay.
Allergies are essentially an overreaction of the immune system to harmless substances like pollen dust mites or certain foods.
Oh, tell me about it. My springtime allergies are no joke.
Right. And while for many people, allergies are just a nuisance,
Yeah.
for others, they can trigger severe, even life-threatening reactions. Think about anaphylaxis.
Right.
A sudden and severe allergic reaction that can cause difficulty breathing, swelling, and even shock.
That sounds terrifying. So
Mhm.
how can we modulate the immune response to prevent or treat allergies?
There are a few different approaches. One is to simply avoid the allergens that trigger the reaction,
Yeah.
but that's not always possible, especially with things like pollen that are pretty much everywhere during certain times of the year.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid pollen when it's coating everything in sight.
Exactly. So another approach is to use medications that block the release of histamine, a chemical that plays a key role in allergic reactions.
Yeah.
Antihistamines are commonly used for this purpose.
Like the over-the-counter allergy pills I take?
Exactly. And in more severe cases, doctors may prescribe corticosteroids,
Yeah.
which are potent anti-inflammatory drugs that can help to dampen the immune response and prevent those severe reactions.
So by understanding how the immune system works in these different contexts, we can develop targeted therapies to either suppress or enhance the immune response as needed.
Yeah.
It's like we're becoming masters of our own immune system.
That's a great way to think about it. It's all about finding the right balance for each individual situation. And as our understanding of the immune system continues to grow, we're developing even more precise and effective ways to modulate immunity for therapeutic benefit.
This deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the basics of how the immune system works to the complexities of the gut microbiome and even this fascinating world of immune modulation.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for this intricate system that keeps us healthy.
I'm glad to hear that it's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you. And remember, the journey of discovery doesn't end here. There's always more to learn, and new research is emerging all the time.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to keep learning.
Good.
But for now, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive. Join us next time for the final installment,
Okay.
where we'll delve into cutting-edge research on targeted therapies that can boost specific aspects of the immune response.
Oh, that's going to be fascinating.
It is. It's going to be a good one.
I can't wait. I'll see you then.
All right. See you then. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into all things immunity boosting. It's been quite a journey exploring the intricacies of this incredible system that keeps us healthy.
It really has. We've gone from understanding the basics of diet and exercise to uncovering the secrets of the gut microbiome and even delving into the complexities of immune modulation.
I feel like we've armed ourselves with a whole arsenal of knowledge to support our immune systems.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I know the outline mentioned targeted therapies. I'm really curious to learn more about how those work.
Targeted therapies are really a fascinating frontier in immune health. They represent a shift from these broad-spectrum approaches to more precise interventions that can actually boost very specific aspects of the immune response.
So instead of just generally boosting the entire immune system, we're talking about fine-tuning specific parts of it.
Exactly. It's like going from using a shotgun to a scalpel.
Okay.
And one area that's showing a lot of promise is the use of cytokines.
Now, cytokines, those are those signaling molecules that help coordinate the immune response, right?
They're like the messengers that tell immune cells where to go and what to do.
So how are scientists using cytokines in these targeted therapies?
Well, researchers have discovered that certain cytokines can actually be used to stimulate specific immune responses.
Oh,
For example, some cytokines can help activate T cells, those powerful immune cells that directly attack infected or cancerous cells.
so it's like giving those T cells a pep talk and sending them into battle with a clear target in sight.
That's a great analogy. And other cytokines can be used to boost the production of antibodies, those specialized proteins that neutralize pathogens before they can cause harm.
That sounds incredibly promising. Are these cytokine therapies already available, or is this still in the realm of research?
Some cytokine therapies are already FDA approved for the treatment of certain cancers and autoimmune diseases.
Wow.
And the research is ongoing with scientists working tirelessly to develop new and even more effective cytokine therapies.
It seems like we're entering a whole new era of immune health, where we can harness the power of our own bodies to fight disease in a more targeted and effective way.
Absolutely. And it's not just about developing new drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Our growing understanding of the immune system is also leading to more personalized approaches to healthcare.
What do you mean by personalized approaches?
Well, in the past, medicine has often taken a one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
but we're now realizing that everyone's immune system is unique, and what works for one person might not work for another.
That makes sense. So how are we using this knowledge to personalize immune health?
One exciting area is the development of immunomodulatory diets.
Okay.
These are diets that are specifically tailored to an individual's gut microbiome and immune profile.
So instead of following generic dietary advice, we're moving towards customized nutrition plans that take into account our unique gut bacteria and immune responses.
Precisely, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. With advancements in genetic testing and our understanding of how genes influence immune function, we're moving closer to a future where treatments and preventative strategies can be tailored to each individual's needs and predispositions.
This has been an absolutely incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've gone from a basic understanding of the immune system to exploring its vast potential for protecting and even enhancing our health.
It's been my pleasure guiding you through this fascinating world. And remember, the most important takeaway is that we have more power over our immune health than we often realize.
Absolutely. By making informed choices about our diet, our lifestyle, and how we manage stress, we can create an environment where our immune systems can thrive. And with the advancements in targeted therapies and personalized medicine, the future of immune health looks brighter than ever.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this final installment of our deep dive, I encourage you to stay curious, keep learning, and most importantly, take proactive steps to support your own incredible immune system.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of immunity and come away feeling empowered to take control of your health.
Until next time, stay well.